And I will hit record.
All right, thank you, Jenny. This is February 29th, 7 p.m. meeting of the Bolton, Massachusetts Select Board. First up on our agenda is request from Bolton Youth Baseball to hold the annual opening day parade on April 27th, 2024, beginning at 12 p.m., following the same route from Florence Sawyer School to Memorial Field. And here to speak with us is Danielle Bradbury.
Hi, thank you.
Here.
So you are correct. So the request is for April 12:20 or so. It usually doesn't take more than 15-20 minutes. And the same route. So coming out of Florence Sawyer, left on 117, left on Wattaquatic, and then into the Bolton Memorial Field area.
Okay, and I understand they are going to have soccer players as part of the parade too?
Correct. We're combining it this year with Bolton Youth Soccer.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, it'll be great.
All right, are there, I see from the material provided that the police department has okayed this. Are there any questions or comments from the select board?
Mr. Chairman, we heard from the chief this afternoon that he hadn't, no, hang on, I'm sorry, I'm conflating that with another event. My mistake, I apologize.
So the chief's good with this?
As far as I know.
Okay.
Jenny, have you heard from the chief? I got the impression from the emails that he'd approved this, but maybe I was reading something into it.
There was one event that the chief had not heard from yet. I was thinking it was this one, one that Vince, I'm drawing a blank on his last name. I apologize.
LaRosa?
LaRosa.
Yes, Vince LaRosa, yes. That he said he hadn't heard from Vince yet, but I'm probably conflating that with a different event.
All right, well, we don't really have confirmation that the chief has approved this.
Yeah, I'm trying to double check that right now. If you just want to make it contingent, then you're safe. Either way.
Yeah. Okay.
I just pulled up the email from the chief as of 3:52 this afternoon. He said the Bolton Youth Baseball has not contacted me regarding the opening day parade. They will require police details to shut down Main Street, and they need to contact Sergeant Forbes. I believe yeah. So he still needs to have that worked out, which I'm sure will be fine. It always has been, but Jenny's right. You should probably make it contingent upon the chief's approval.
Okay, I will reach out to Vince and have him do that.
Yeah, he's got to do that directly with the chief. It's not up to the town administrator or the assistant town administrator to do that.
Correct.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the request from Bolton Youth Baseball to hold the annual opening day parade on April 27th, 2024, beginning at 12 p.m., contingent upon the chief getting what he needs from the organization to approve the event.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call. Stan?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
And I'm a yes also. Okay, thank you, Danielle.
Great. Thank you very much.
Next up is an update from Kristen Noel, Human Resources, on our Health Insurance Advisory Committee and a possible vote to execute a contract.
Hi, thanks for having me. So I know I spoke to you, I believe in December, and I wanted to come back tonight to give you an update. So we did put together the Insurance Advisory Commission. We met on January 11th this year, and we did vote to move forward with Maya as our new health insurance company. Again, in December, I was notified that our current healthcare provider, Minuteman Neshoba Health Group, which is a joint purchasing group, was going to be dissolving at the end of this fiscal year. So we really didn't have a lot of time to put together anything, for fiscal 2025. Maya was wonderful working with us to get us new rates, to start the ball rolling. And again, the board did vote in January to move forward with Maya as our new healthcare provider. In light of that, there are some agreements that the Board of Selectmen, the Select Board rather, do have to sign. We have the Maya Health Benefits Trust Agreement. There are 2 signatures required from the board on page 28 and 33. We do have the rates that I believe just Don has to sign as town administrator, and then he also needs to sign the business associate contract if you so desire. So that is where we're at.
The rates that you have quoted, are they in the current version of the budget?
They are. We were able to get those in time. Yeah. And overall, we were pretty fortunate. We received about a 7% increase over last year, which is right about, I think, what the industry has been seeing. And that is just for our Blue Cross members. So those members currently enrolled in Tufts and Harvard Pilgrim actually will see a decrease in their premium in 2025. So that was a little bit of good news that we can share.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board?
I'm good.
No,
Any
just wanted to say thanks to Kristen for going through the process, because I know it was sort of unexpected and not super fun, but glad we landed with a good result.
It definitely, it was not what we expected. And I thought after, we went through the whole Fallon transition into Blue Cross, that would be it for a while. But Maya has been wonderful to work with. The reps are very responsive, and I'm actually looking forward to working with them on this health, with the health insurance. I know we already use them for property and casualty, but they really have stepped up for us, so I'm pleased.
What specific motions do you need from the board? Are there multiple documents that we have to approve or authorize Dawn to sign?
Yes, so it's the Maya Health Benefit Trust Agreement. So we do need to, I guess, just the authorization of signing the trust agreement with Maya.
Isn't there a business associate contract as well, you mentioned?
Business associate contract, yeah, so you'd have to authorize Dawn to sign that. That is just the administrator's signature is required on that, as well as the rates.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments on this? Questions? Could I have a motion?
Make a motion that we vote to execute the business associate contract between the town of Bolton and the Massachusetts Interlocal Insurance Association Health Benefits Trust, and authorize our town administrator to sign that. And Noel, Kristen, what was the document name of the second document that we have to sign?
Maya Health Benefits Trust Agreement.
Yes, so we, the select board, need to sign that agreement as well.
Second,
All right. Roll call, Brian,
yes.
Stan,
Yes,
and I'm a yes also. All right, good. Also, Kristen, I think you're going to walk us through a change in title for the assistant to the town administrator.
Correct. So when we were doing the wage study last year, this maybe should have been part of it last year. What we ended up doing, just to give you a brief, a brief update of what we did. So Jenny's position, administrative assistant to the town administrator, based on her current role and added responsibilities over the years, we were able to move that position on our classification grid from a grade 2 to a grade 3. And again, it's based on the additional responsibilities and what we're seeing the job entail today. So what we had done, or what I've done over the past few weeks, is really gotten some great information and some updated information from surrounding communities. So based on the position, the current position that she is doing, all of our surrounding communities really have not remarketed, but the position itself is really out there now, known as the executive assistant. Lancaster, Williamsburg, Stowe, Clinton, Harvard, Sterling, Northborough, just to name a few, and I probably could look up 20 or 30 more communities, but they all have the title, Jenny's position rather, all has the title of executive assistant. So we really just kind of wanted to update that, bring it, bring it full circle and bring in, and just, there's no wage or there's no, increase in pay at this point. It's simply just the title change. And it just reflects more on what Jenny is currently doing and her job responsibilities. And it is comparable to surrounding communities, what they are listing the position as well.
Questions or comments?
I'm
I'm fine with the change.
Okay.
totally supportive.
Do I have a motion?
Yes, I make a motion that we approve the change to the position title from administrative assistant to the town administrator to executive assistant.
And I'll second that.
All right, roll call. Stan,
Yes,
Brian,
Yes.
and I'm a yes also.
Thank you
Excellent.
very much.
All right, thank you, Kristen.
thanks,
you.
Kristen.
Thank
Have a
you,
good night.
Kristen.
Next on our agenda is a request from Bolton Access TV for the release of $24,627.81 for the fourth quarter 23 Comcast funds and franchise fee. And here to bring us up to date on everything at Batco is Nikki Biaggi. Good evening.
Hello. How are you guys?
Good.
Hi,
Good.
Nikki.
What's new in the world of community TV?
We're into winter concert season. So we just did the Wellesley Choral Society concert a few weeks ago. And this Saturday is the Concord Band. So we'll be live streaming that. Yeah, so lots of concerts, lots of good music.
Jenny, could you mute the microphone? Thank you. All right, Nikki, very good. Very good. Any questions or comments from the board?
No, I'm good.
Sounds
This
good,
is-
Nikki. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is just operating fees. There's no capital amount this time?
This is it's a little awkward because technically we get 5% each quarter of Comcast traditional TV package profits. 0.05 of that 5% is earmarked for capital, which we tend to use for things like gaffer's tape and, equipment,
Yeah.
cables, that sort of thing. And then the 4.5% is operations, but that is separate from the lump sum 12,000 that we get once a year. That is earmarked just for capital.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. We got that last time, didn't we, Nikki?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that comes in June. And then this last one, I just didn't get around to asking and requesting the amount until the end of the year.
Okay. Could I have a motion?
Certainly. Make a motion to approve the request from Bolton Access Television for the release of $24,627.81 for Q4 Comcast funds and franchise fee.
I'll second that.
All right, roll call. Stan,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and I'm a yes also. All right.
Thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
Nikki. Come
Thanks,
back and
Nikki.
visit us
Hey, Nikki.
sometime when you don't just want money,
Oh, that's no fun.
All right, take care. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Next on our agenda, and we are early, is a discussion on tree removal at 711, 713 Main Street. There's a request from Studio In Situ, which is doing the work on the renovation there to park equipment in the parking lot of the town common for the removal of the trees, and that may involve closing the entrance to the town common for some period of time to be discussed now. This is a follow-up to the approval to remove the trees, which the board gave on December 14th. So Mr. Tim Hess,
Evening.
welcome to the board. Please tell us what you're looking to do and what you're asking us to approve.
Mr. Chair and members of the board, thanks so much. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Had some Zoom difficulties earlier today. I have a plan that I forwarded earlier today that you may not have had a chance to have a look at. And I suspect it might be helpful to share that. Would it be possible for me to share my screen?
Yes, give me 1 sec. All right, you should be able to set.
Let's see, are you seeing that?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So I'm here representing my client, Jared Bolton LLC, and I suspect that Craig either is on the line or may join us shortly. I think I'm also joined by the general contractor on the project. Yeah, there's Craig. The general contractor on the project, Jay Murray from Minuteman Building Preservation. So as you mentioned, there are a number of trees that are near Craig's parcel that we believe pose some threat to the new construction there, and have been through the process of working with an arborist, and you will have heard most of that on the evening that you approved the plan to remove those trees. What slipped through the cracks was that we had not thought to get separately that necessary permission to go in with the equipment. We'll need to do that. So we prepared a little document here. This is primarily meant to address questions and concerns of the Conservation Commission, with whom we have an ongoing public hearing. Our request for a determination opened up Tuesday of last week and will continue Tuesday of next week. So the material, the graphic you're looking at here, was submitted to the Conscom this morning in sort of service of that dialogue. Since that hearing opened, we reached out. I see Mr. Hegland is or was on the call a little bit ago. I had a helpful conversation with him regarding advice he might have for us, and a similar conversation with Chief Nelson. And so it's our intent to accept and incorporate their advice. And I'm happy to get into that to the extent that you all would like to understand details. The primary thing I'd like to point out, as Jenny assembled the agenda item, she made reference to use of the parking lot. And I should mention, we also spent some time in preparing this, spent some time with Tree Warden Mark Case, and it was through that dialogue that we identified what he suggested would probably be the most effective and beneficial locations of the equipment. So if if you can follow my cursor, I'm sort of circling our small parcel here with the building that's currently under renovation, the barn, which has been recently demolished, and then building to the west. As of yet, no significant work happening there. So to our immediate west, of course, begins the town common property, and just I'm going to estimate about 40 feet to the west of our building at 713 is the access drive. So with my cursor, I'm circling the location where we plan to locate a crane over a crane mat. And then in these other two designated spots would be the associated equipment for a chipper, and then a place where the lumber product would be, for a word other than stored, but stored until it's removed, located for that brief period of time before a removal truck arrives. The duration of the whole event, really our best guess would be that it would fall within a single week, but we've been a little more cautious in describing to the Conservation Commission, and I'll repeat that number to you all here tonight, that we'd be more comfortable on record saying we think 2 weeks, just a little bit safer, just in case. Only tangentially related, we did have a conversation. I received a call from Lisa Sheppel in the Parks and Rec department, either early today or yesterday, and she explained to us the Parks and Rec's desire to and plan to be creating a kind of naturalized playground not far from our parcel. And she asked if we'd be interested in donating some of the materials. There may be a technical question as to whether or not we own the materials, given that, this is about permission to remove trees from town property. But to the extent that it makes sense, it feels like, I think it would be a good opportunity for us to, make a contribution and be helpful to Lisa and her group's efforts. So I'll leave it there and do my best to answer questions. And as I said, Greg is on the call, and I think probably Jay is as well.
So let me make sure I understand what I heard. You're looking for up to 2 weeks, closing off the entrance, the driving entrance to the public garden.
Thanks for that clarification. No, we're not. The hope with this location would be that with the assistance of a police detail, that individual could provide the safety and security and traffic direction to allow the drive not to be closed.
Okay, but what I hear and see on, what I hear from you and see on the diagram you have is that the crane's going to be taking up half of the entrance drive. You're going to have a laydown area on half of the entrance drive. You're going to have a chipper between the laydown area and your building. And you're going to be able to access all the trees from one crane location?
That's what we believe, yes.
Okay. And you believe that with a police detail, people will be able to safely enter and exit and use the entire town common safely?
Yeah, the idea would be that the police detail would help, address safety concerns during operation, and, when in the periods, the off hours and evening hours, the periods when it's not operational, the equipment would not consume both lanes, but there would be a lane available for passage for folks to move around it.
Okay, and on the outside, this would most likely take between 1 and 2 weeks.
I think, I feel like it's important to not be too aggressive about expectations, but in talking with, everybody on our team about it, our belief is that something more like 3 or 4 days is more likely. But in a setting like this, I feel like it would be unwise to play it that tight. And, I think 2 weeks on the outside is very conservative.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board?
I'm fine with the plan, the fact that they're gonna have a detail there during the day to allow traffic to ingress and egress. I'm fine with it.
Will there be some kind of barrier so people don't wander in from the parking lot into the work area, or some kind of markers, boundary markers? Or is it
Yeah,
just
we
the
don't represent,
wetlands will naturally discourage that?
well, in terms of people wandering into to the area where the activity with the trees themselves are, yeah, I think that's gonna look at least as uninviting then as it does now. So somebody'd have to want it pretty bad to get down in there.
Okay. And Parks and Recs and has no objection to this activity?
Well, so I should be more careful in what I represent. When I spoke with Lisa, we talked only about the playground and her interest in the materials.
Yeah,
And her awareness, to even place the call came about because she's aware that we're making this request to remove the trees. I should say I did not ask her if she had any concerns about our operation, but she did not offer any.
But
Mr.
you have-
Chairman, I have discussed it with Lisa and she did not express any concerns.
okay, and then the Conservation Commission, you're working through their process now.
That's right. Yeah, we'll have our second session of our continuing public hearing with them on Tuesday next week.
Okay, any other questions from the board?
No, I'm all set.
Nope, I'm good.
Mr.
Any other-
Chairman, I have one comment, please.
Sure.
First of all, let me say I have no objections to this or concerns about the project at all. My only comment is that typically heavy equipment tends to leak oil. And I think as part of this, the town should be provided with an appropriate insurance binder or appropriate evidence of insurance in case, there's an accidental oil spill or leak.
Mr. Hess, you want to address that?
Happy to. Yeah, sorry, I'm just making a note. Mr. Heglin expressed a similar concern when we spoke with him last week, and we offered him our assurance, and I'll offer it to you all tonight, that certainly the contractor would be required by us, and we would share with you all evidence of their insurance.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
And in a related vein, that's not really a paved entrance as I recall it. So having heavy equipment go over that, is there a likelihood of there needing to be some remediation when of the entrance when the project is complete?
I'm not sure I'm equipped to answer that. We do anticipate that such a need on the grassed area for sure. And we would remedy that. I can't offer any intelligence on the likelihood of damage on the road, but I think, Craig, you'd agree if we were to do any meaningful damage to the road, we would make the appropriate repairs or compensation.
Yes, Tim, I would agree with that.
Right. Is Randy still in the meeting? Randy Heglin?
Looks like he's there. Here he comes.
Yes, I am. Yep.
Okay, we were just wondering if bringing that crane in is going to require remediation of the road. leading into the town common?
It's possible. The outriggers on the crane, sometimes they put down mats to protect the surface. Other times they just, because if it's a gravel surface, they'll just put the outrigger mats right on the gravel surface. Just bear in mind that that is just basically a gravel surface. It's a dense graded mix that's in there now. So there's no hot top that would be damaged. It would be a pretty easy, I think, repair if it was necessary. But
Okay,
my recommendation, if the board does approve this, that that any area disturbed by their activities should be repaired to preconditions or utilization of the site.
okay. And ideally, when would this activity occur? If it's approved tonight?
Yeah, I think Greg might answer that better than I can. I think the answer is ASAP.
That's correct.
Okay, so it would certainly be before Parks and Rec starts its summer programs.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mr. Chair,
yes,
one other comment, and Don brought it up about the insurance certificate. I relayed this to the gentleman when I spoke a couple weeks ago. Insurance certificate naming the town of Bolton as an additional insured, that's important. So even if it's not an oil spill or something, even if they damage, town property, I mean, they're going to be situated totally on town property. We should have some coverage, or crane, topple over or something like that, fall on a car going by or cause other damages or something. We should be named as an additional insured.
okay. Any objection to that, Mr. Hess?
Don't think so, Craig.
No objection.
Okay, thank you. If there are no other questions or comments from the board, are there any comments or questions from the public? Please use the raise your hand thing because my screen is, I don't see any questions. All right, could I have a motion from the board?
Sure, I'll make a motion that we approve the request from Studio In Situ to park equipment in the parking lot for the town common in consideration of possible road closure to Community Way during the tree removal as previously approved by the select board on December 14th, 2013.
I'll second that.
If I may, Mr. Chair, I hope it's not inappropriate, just a kind of a point of order or a friendly amendment. The intent would be to park the equipment on the access drive, not the parking lot.
So noted.
Okay, so could we have a vote on the amended, we'll have a roll call on the amended motion. Brian,
Yes.
Stan,
Yes.
and I'm a yes also. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Hess, Mr.
Thank
Bullock.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, the
Yes.
project's looking nice. It's looking very nice.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
And I, I think it'd be appropriate for Parks and Rec or some other, I guess I'm making this comment to you, Don, Parks and Recs or someone else sends out a public notice telling people that this kind of activity is going to be occurring. Maybe, what the hours are and the days are for it, so that, because there are people who just are going to just go there and not, then they're going to be surprised and who knows what they have planned there. So we should just give the town advance notice when this work is going to get started.
I think that's a good point. We can look at doing a news and announcements. We can do a push from our Facebook account, and also we do have the signboard down at the town common, so we could utilize that too.
All right, thank you.
you.
Following, go ahead. Okay, next on our agenda is a discussion from DPW Director Randy Hegland about transfer station regulations and reviewing a proposed article for the annual town meeting. So Randy?
Hey, good evening. Thanks for having me this evening. several months ago, I noted, first of all, I couldn't find the approved regulations for the transfer station. So I requested, from Jenny, a copy of the regulations that the board had considered and approved it at the meeting a few years ago. And it was noted that the board had approved a draft version of those regulations. So I said, well, give me some time to look at the regulations and figure out where they need to be. And I will bring them back before the board for your consideration of approval or changes that you would like to have in it. You should have, I sent to Jenny several versions of it. There was a red line version showing all of the changes that had been made in it, sections that were added and moved around. The original version that was approved by the board, and then the final version that would be the with all of the red line changes made and incorporated into the regulations. There is nothing significantly different in the regulations. I did add a couple of sections. One was severability, that should any section of the regulations be found invalid, it doesn't make the whole regulation invalid. Also, if you note under section 8, I also added, in addition to the non-criminal disposition potential fines that could be issued for violations to the regulations, it allows select board to issue at your sole discretion with a unanimous vote to suspend or prohibit right of entry into the transfer station or right of use. The transfer station could be permanent, could be, for some period of time, strictly at the board's discretion, totally at the board's discretion. There was nothing in there regarding that. Also, the town, as you're aware, has a visitor's code of conduct. And I suggested also having some language in there that if there's a violation of the visitor's code of conduct, that be also brought before the board. So at that, hopefully you've had a chance to look at the draft regulations, and I'll entertain any comments, any changes you would like.
Sure. Well, I did review it. The only comment I had is in the section you were just talking about, where it's section 8, prohibition of use. It wasn't clear to me why you state the select board has to be unanimous in its vote to suspend or prohibit the right of a user to use the transfer station.
I chose unanimous only because I equated it back. I'm on the zoning board here at home. We're a 3-member board, and any decisions are a unanimous decision. And if we are a 5-member board, it could be a majority. That's strictly up to you. Like I said, I'm more than open to suggestions. If you would like to have it as a majority of the board, I'm fine with that. Not a problem. I just figured it was a starting point for some language.
That's fine. I think it'd be more effective if it were a majority, but I would want to hear from the other board members.
Yep. Could I just had a, oh, go ahead, Stan.
Yeah, on that item, I would agree. I think it should be majority of the board.
Yep, I agree with that too. I did have a couple of other questions. One was just whether, do you know whether any of this language has been reviewed by town council, specifically the language around the different types of penalties and like consequences of failure to abide by the rules? Have those provisions been reviewed?
I think this proposed language has not been vetted by council.
Okay. The reason I asked was that so on page 1, the thing about proof of residency may be requested. Failure to establish proof of residency will result in removal from the premises. I know that this isn't the intent, but I just wanted to point out that like there are times when people who are not residents of Bolton are at the transfer station. Maybe like, for example, I remember Representative Kate Hogan has been at the transfer station. She obviously couldn't produce proof of residency in Bolton, but under this policy, if she couldn't, then she would have to be removed from the premises or somebody in that situation. And I know that's not what it's meant to do, but I just thought maybe we want to say failure to establish proof of residency may result in removal from the premises. That was one thought. And then the other thing was just around the penalty in section 8, including something as potentially severe as like a permanent revocation of rights to use the facility. I just wasn't sure whether that would be inconsistent with the fact that we also require recycling in Bolton. So I don't know that we could like require recycling, but then also permanently revoke somebody's ability to be at the facility. So those were my two just questions that we might want to have somebody take another look at.
Those are fair points, Brian. You could, I would suggest in order to keep things moving, the board could vote this as presented tonight, and I can get this off to council. Then prior to implementation, if for some reason council raises some concerns, it can be brought back to the board.
Yeah, and just to be clear, if council has no concerns, I'm fine with it. So I'm totally comfortable voting conditional on their review.
On your concern for section 2, the proof of residency, could we add the language, proof of residency for users of the facility?
Sure, that's another way.
That's, I mean, that, I think that makes it a lot clearer there.
Yeah.
That would take care of, you know, somebody visiting or doing whatever.
My wife brings all our bottles and cans up there for the Boy Scouts, but I doubt that she'll be removed for that, right, Randy?
That's correct.
The other thing,
Maybe if her husband accompanies her.
just one other thing, and this is to Brian's comment. If someone has their access revoked, they still have an option to get private carding, and that would be their only other option. So they do have an option to do that. But I can understand what you're saying. But if they're banned from the transfer station, then they have to get private carding. Unless they find some other town to dump it in, as some people do in Bolton. Come to us in Bolton for that. The other thing that I'd like to bring up, and this relates to an email I had sent to Don and Randy some time ago. The document doesn't explicitly state that residents must use a either green or orange bag that has to be purchased from the town.
Yes, it does stand under section 4, Stan, it says that.
Maybe I missed it. Let me just check. Go back.
It says municipal solid waste must be deposited in the appropriate receptacle as directed by staff. All non-bulk refuse must be in town issued
Okay.
your throw bags.
Okay. Then thanks. I must have missed that because I went through that and I didn't see it. The other
And
thing,
have in there too, also bags must be purchased and obtained from the town.
right? I think one other thing that I have noticed, and this is more to help the guys at the transfer station. I think some folks are still being a bit creative when they get rid of their trash. I have witnessed individuals using very large, in excess of 33-gallon clear bags, where they've put one or more green bags, the one example, green bags, but they still have loose trash. And they're also using 42-gallon contractor bags where they attempt to fit, to some extent, the smaller 33-gallon bag, say, over the top of that bag. And in some conversation with some of those residents, they think that that's perfectly fine. And I'd like to somehow codify that only orange or green bags should be used, and not that an orange or green bag be inserted in some other larger bag, because in most cases, obviously, if they're putting one or more green bags in a larger clear bag of which there's still loose trash, they're gaming the system. And if they're using a 42-gallon black contractor bag where they're attempting to stuff a part way, an orange bag on top of it, that they're still gaming the system. And I'd like to see if we can try to close those little bit of loopholes. I mean, for the most part, when I'm up at the transfer station, compliance is pretty good, but you still have some people who are trying to game the system.
I'd suggest rather than getting into colors, I think Randy's use of town issued bags is, covers things in case, if in the future the town chose to change colors of the bags for whatever reason, or, but, if you could.
No,
focus
I'm not suggesting we specify orange or green, but
Okay,
what needs to go in that receptacle is only town issued bags,
mhm.
as opposed to a clear bag or opposed to a black bag on which they somehow affix a town bag and they think they're covered.
So what they're disposing of needs to be contained within a town issued bag.
Yeah, that could be. Because I think it'll just give the folks up at the transfer station a bit more ammunition if someone is playing fast and loose, which they do.
Yeah.
They do.
Playing devil's advocate a little bit. We'll use the example of your clear bag. What if a person came in with a clear bag, but in that bag were all either, smaller green bags? They may have, what I'm thinking is one big bag in their garage or wherever, have to use the green bags under their, sink or whatever, and then they bring it to one receptacle, and they prefer to handle one big bag.
I think
Clear.
I think the situation Stan's talking about is they've got a clear bag and they throw one or two empty green bags in there just so they can say,
Oh, okay, I misunderstood.
which
Yeah.
situations are you talking about, Stan?
I'm talking about situations where someone has, I'll use two specific examples. Someone has a very large, equivalent to a 42-gallon or larger clear bag, of which there might be one or more green bags inside, but there's still loose trash inside that clear bag. Second case is they have a 42-gallon black contractor bag, and they attempt to fit on the top of that bag an orange bag. So it's like a small fish trying to swallow a large fish. So they're justifying, I'm throwing out a 33-gallon bag that I purchased, but they're actually throwing out 42 gallons worth of garbage, as opposed to putting everything in an orange bag or multiple orange bags.
Yeah, I can see people using supplemental bags, for example, parents who have children in diapers, you're going to use supplemental bags, but all of it has got to fit inside one of the town bags.
Exactly.
And well, what does, I'm looking back at section 4 here.
I think the words contained within a town issued bag would probably cover that.
Yeah, it says all non-bulk refuse must be in town issued pay as you throw bags.
Mhm.
So anybody who's can't, it's got stuff sticking out of an orange or a green bag. They've got, that I think the guys at the transfer station are right to have an issue with it.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure that we transmit that to the folks at the transfer station so that they're confident in, because I've actually heard conversations where, oh no, it's okay, I've talked to this one or I talked to that one. And this is no fault of our great staff at the transfer station. It's unfortunately people in this town who are trying to game the system. And I see it all the time.
Okay, well, Randy, you have the support of the board in dealing with that as in a way that you see as appropriate.
Okay, I'm just trying to think what's the best way.
Well, I mean, we're kind of throwing you a curveball, during the
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah.
So I don't think you need to have the answer right now.
Yeah, no, you
You've
don't.
got the support of the board in terms of how to remedy the problem. And
Okay, but
in
I
terms of determining how extensive and severe the problem is also.
Okay. Yeah, you know, as I was sitting here, I was thinking maybe, we can modify the signage, say only orange and green bags in the compactor. Everything else has to go in the bulk where they have to pay a fee to put it in the bulk. People may not like that. That
Well,
may
I don't think
get a lot
Stan's
of
talking about
resistance.
bulk stuff here. I think he's talking about people who are trying to get rid of.
I
40
understand what he's saying, but I'm just trying to think of an easy way of being able to enforce those regulations, enforce those rules. That makes it easy for everybody to understand, because I think, taking Stan's point, I think there's sometimes there's misinterpretations of or misunderstandings of what we're all looking for as the ultimate objective. I look at it as if anything that goes in the compactor is in a bag, in a orange or green bag, that's the fee has been paid for. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, but if, to Stan's point, if they're just, taping the orange bag to the outside of the black bag.
Yeah, that's not a good idea. That's not.
Yeah.
No.
If they did an orange bag and a green bag together, then you could say, perhaps.
But that's
But
more
then
monitoring for your guys.
And I'm trying to avoid. That's what I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah, that's more monitoring for your guides. So, again, we're not looking for you to cough up the
Okay.
remedy tonight.
Yeah.
But you have our support in dealing with that. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Do you want us to vote on the transfer station regulations and then go on to the ATM article, or do you want to go on to the ATM article first?
They're kind of separate and distinct, I think.
Okay,
So, if you want to approve the regulations with the changes that you've discussed, the majority, change it from unanimous to majority, and then adding for users of the facility under section 2. Because I think the rest of the language is pretty much there.
okay. Could I have a
I do-
motion?
I do want to say thank you to Leslie. She was a big help in finalizing out these and, going through these regulations with me, so.
Thanks, Randy.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Leslie.
Thanks, guys.
You're the best.
I try.
I'll make a motion that we approve the transfer station regulations as presented tonight with some of the changes that we have discussed and accepted to be included.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call, Stan,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
I'm a yes also. Okay, a proposed article for the annual town meeting.
Okay, this was came about as some little confusion at the transfer station. Well, under the criminal disposition or non-criminal disposition violation section of the bylaws, it's still referred to affixing stickers to bags. So to make the language consistent with the current desire of the board, I propose replacing disposal of trash bags while failing to affix the trash sticker, and replacing it with disposal of trash while failing to use mandatory town purchase color bag. I didn't do anything with it didn't do anything with the fee or anything like that. I figured it was just straight language change. Housekeeping.
Okay, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
So do we want to vote a recommendation for town meeting tonight, or do we want to wait until we vote all the other recommendations toward the end of March?
So as not to confuse it, I think you should vote on all the warrant articles at the same time. It'd be hard to track, but I just wanted to present it tonight so that you'd have it before you, and if you wanted any changes, we still had some opportunity to make any kind of changes you wanted.
Okay. I'm fine with it, and thank you for taking care of.
I
these
do
details.
have I do have a question, and this is to Don. In the summary, the violation of $20 per bag is to remain unchanged. If we were to, if there was a desire to change that number to something different, that's a different process. We just can't arbitrarily change it there. We have to go through, I think it's fees that we have to go through and work with Pam about that.
Yes, you would.
Okay. Because perhaps maybe not for this time or not, but I would be in favor of upping that amount of money. And I would be in favor of upping that amount of money and then having a second wave if someone violated that again. But that's a discussion for a different meeting.
Okay. All right, so I think we're all good with this
Yep.
town meeting article. Thank you, Randy.
Thanks,
Thank
Randy.
Thank you. Thank
Thanks,
you.
have a good night.
Sir.
Thank you, Randy.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night. Good night, Leslie.
Good night, guys.
Bye.
Next for discussion is an update from Fire Chief Jeff Legendre on the fire truck purchases and an update, some more information on our billing for EMS services.
Good evening, gentlemen. Hear me just fine?
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. So apparatus updates. Proud to say we put the mini attack pumper in service last night. Training for the whole department has been completed. The truck has been outfitted. Mostly the members of the department got that up and going, got the compartments filled with some of our previous equipment and some new equipment to provide increased safety to our firefighters, including a rapid deploy boat and for water rescue and some auto extrication equipment that came in. The Seagrave that was a long time coming, still on track, hopefully for the last week of March, 1st of April to be completed, put together. From that point, we would go out to Clintonville, Wisconsin, take a walk through of the spec, have the spec in front of us, go stem to stern on that truck, test drive, and accept that vehicle. At that time, that vehicle would then be shipped from Clintonville, Wisconsin, driven to Lawrence, Massachusetts, to Fleet Masters, where we purchased it from. A second inspection of the vehicle to make sure there's no damage on the route from Wisconsin would be done. Lettering would be completed and it would be delivered. In the same fashion, the vendor would come out, train all of our personnel on that vehicle. We'll outfit it again. That one's going to be a little more entailed because of the equipment going on it, but I'm still expecting 2 to 3 weeks for us to get everything onto it. The third piece is the Kenworth tanker. We're still expecting that in June. It's a pretty basic tanker, valuable piece of equipment, but just not as many moving parts and not as many cabinets and not as much items to put on that truck because we are hauling predominantly just water on that vehicle. So that should be a quick turnaround. And again, a training session by the vendor to our people. And we can get that done, and all projects apparatus wise will be completed. I am hoping this will be done by August, September, with the fleet on, everybody trained, everything online, ready to go. That's where we currently are with the fire apparatus. Any questions thus far?
No, I was at the station last week looking at the mini pumper. It looks nice. Looks really nice.
We actually did deploy it today. We were contacted by the rec department. Somebody had decided there was a better location for one of the benches at Pearson's Park to go out on the ice. It did fall through, so we were able to use some of that water safety equipment and extract the bench from the pond, and working with DPW, they will be picking it up tomorrow because it was some damage done to it on top of throwing it on the ice. So it's been safely removed as we had planned. Coming down those trails around Pearson's Park, we had no issues whatsoever getting the vehicle down there, and we had the equipment right outside the shoreline. So it was almost like we planned it.
All right, that's good. It's unfortunate someone would do that with the benches, but
Correct, but it
Thank
was
you.
good to get it out, get the equipment out, do a little training session. Obviously, like you said, it would have been better under not malicious intent, but it was good to get a training session in today to do that, working with the vehicle.
okay.
So moving forward, because we're gonna have all these, the vehicles, we have increased our pumping capacity. We have increased our water carrying capacity. We are currently looking at and working with Verisk, which posts the homeowners insurance ratings for towns. We are currently a 9. Talking with the officers, we are in a good position right now to be assessed. It has been several years since we've been assessed, and several changes have taken place in the department. Joining the Shelby Valley Regional Dispatch is going to get us points because of the redundancy of their circuits, number of call takers, etc. The coverage at the fire station was not a factor in that. Before, we gained those points in our pumping capacity and ability to flow the amount of water we have. We are very confident that we'll be able to lower that rating that we currently have, which is a 9 throughout the town. We are shooting for an 8, which would give some relief to residents once it's recognized. So all of these moves that we have made, hopefully will give back not only in a safety factor to the community, but also put some savings for all the residents. So there is some would say a method to the madness, and we're experiencing primary and secondary effects of that with these purchases and the outfitting and the gear that we've chosen over the past couple years that should benefit the town in multiple fashions.
Right. So you're saying that if the town gets a rating change from a 9 to an 8, people will have their homeowners insurance reduced.
That is correct. The insurance companies would go look at what is the rating of Bolton, currently a 9. It is expected that the insurance companies, if we were to do this, we would be awarded a letter to say you've ranked into this number, excuse me, that the homeowners insurance would then abide by that fire rating. You could see a savings in your homeowners insurance. That is correct.
Do you know, well, 2 questions. One is there more you have to do before you apply for a reduction in the rating? And is there a cost associated with those other, when do you think the reduction in the rating would occur?
I am shooting right now, again, that August, September. They would have to come out for an assessment to review us flowing 30,000 gallons consistently. That's 250 gallons a minute for 2 hours sustained. We've already started working on that plan. They come in and assess dispatch, the fire department, and our water supplies. There would be no cost associated to the town to have them come in. It would just be setting it up. I do not want to run the actual test until we have all of our new apparatus in with the capacities of the pumps that are coming in. But we can have all the groundwork and the framework set for that run.
Okay, so there's no more equipment you need or special.
Nope, we
Is
have
that
made
enough? Okay.
those changes already. We are
All right, good.
right down to the turnout gear. Everything is NFPA approved. Under 10 years, the bailout systems, everything that we've pieced together is kind of coming together all at once now here for us to do this.
Good. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One other thing, when I was at the station last week talking with the chief, if at the point in time this does occur and hopefully our rating changes, I think it would behoove us to provide access to the residents to the appropriate documents that show that we have achieved this. Because more than likely, it's going to be a pull from us as residents to get this as opposed to a push from the insurance companies who will graciously want to lower our insurance rates. So at the point in time, I think we'll be able to have something to provide to our residents for them to proactively go to their insurance companies and ask for this reduction.
You are correct, Stan. We are issued a letter from Verisk that shows our hopefully changed number. That official letter obviously would be made available on at the station for residents if they want to, and we will get that out to anybody that would require it after we do the test and receive the evaluation back.
Can we just post that letter on the website, somewhere on the town website?
I absolutely plan on doing that too, but I
Yep.
want to make
Okay.
a hard copy available if people would like it and post it on our town webpage,
Okay.
social media, everywhere.
All right, that'd be good. That'd be good. Do you need anything from the board to accomplish this?
At this time, we do not. I would love to invite you to because we're going to practice one of our training nights to come down, get a full grasp on what we do, and because we're going to be doing this with portable ponds, and I would absolutely invite the board down if you'd like some information to see what we're doing, so you can further explain it if you were to receive questions from town residents. We can set everything up, go through it, and show you how we're going to do it. And that would be the only thing I need at this point from the board for that process.
Okay, good. Good.
Let us know.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief.
thank you. The ambulance billing. We did get to sit with the coastal billing. What was throwing some of our collection rates off, some of the out of the ALS Intercept bills were not being taken off, even though we were credited the money. They weren't coming off the totals. So I'm happy to report that, when we first started talking, it looked like 50%. We moved up to 72, 73. When we actually get a figure, and I've been working with Jen from Coastal Billing, who's been fantastic at any reports that we've needed lately, explaining the process and where we can possibly improve. But we are at a 85%, 84.9% collection rate, which is pretty good from the comparison towns that they have around us. Many of the factors that increase, we already do a bundle bill, so we are not line item for every item we do. It's a set rate, a BLS rate, an ALS1 rate, an ALS2 rate, compared to cherry picking through skills. They have seen and still experience a higher collection rate by doing this bundle billing. Our breakdown, we had talked previous with the set rates like Medicare, Medicaid at a previous meeting. So we're looking at about a third of our calls are that Medicare, Medicaid set rate right now. Additional 35% is of revenue taken in is from the ALS Intercept rates from the communities that we serve. 13.7% is a private pay. So it'd be a Blue Cross, Blue Shield, straight insurance. 7.1 is secondary. So if we had Medicare patient, if their primary covers a certain portion, 7.1% of our collection comes from that secondary. If they had a Blue Cross, Blue Shield secondary, and MVAs account for 2.1% of our collection rate for FY 23. These are, I should have said that out front, FY 23 collection numbers. Any questions with those?
Nope, that's
Okay.
good.
Thank you.
Thank you for the update.
Yeah, I think that's all I have to update you gentlemen, unless you have any further questions.
No, I'm fine.
I'm good.
Okay.
Thanks so much,
Very good.
Chief.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much. Have a great night.
Chief.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is a couple of requests to increase the amounts for revolving accounts. I believe these would have to be also be approved at town meeting. Is that correct?
Yes,
If
they
we
need to
make
be
changes?
approved. Yes, they need to be approved at town meeting, but the procedure really should be to bring it forward to the select board first.
Okay. The first on the list is advanced life support, so why don't we start with that? Welcome back, Chief.
Thank you. So as you know, we fund all of the purchases of the ALS equipment, staffing from that ALS revolving account, because we have gone to a 24/7 system. I'm looking for an increase. Talking with the Notchka, we are right up against the 250,000 cap right now. Looking to move that to 275. Again, when we get to that purchase, the town administrator does sign with me. That is not mine to do solo. So there is a checks and balance in that system. So just to give us that buffer, if we had a problem with the cardiac monitor, we would be able to purchase that cardiac monitor and still do the payroll to remain under the cap for the year. So that's why I'm seeking the increase.
I have a question about this, about revolving accounts in general, not specifically yours, but it came up in some of the material that I read. What is the amount? Is that the balance? The amount that, if we say a revolving account is for $250,000, is that the balance in the account, net of all the income and all the expenses? Is that all the expenses for the year that are paid out of that account, or is that all the income? What is the $250,000?
That is the amount that we can spend from that account in a fiscal year. We could have more money in there. Hopefully we'll have more money in there, but the cap right now is $250,000.
Okay,
spending from that
so it's
account.
a spending limit.
Correct.
That
Okay.
holds true for all of the revolving accounts.
Okay. And if I recall correctly, and I'm just asking this to make sure that I am recalling correctly, any purchase over $10,000 out of that revolving account requires the town administrator's signature too. Is that the amount, or was it something else?
I would have to go back and look.
Yeah.
If you had just asked me, I would have said it could be as high as 25,000. The 10,000 could be correct. I honestly don't remember.
Well, it seems like it's not being used very much if you two don't remember what it is. So,
Yeah, we haven't run up against that very often. No, we haven't.
okay. Yeah, I would just feel better if you two checked into it and told us, what the amount was that requires a co-signature
Yeah.
at some future meeting.
I will absolutely do that.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it's 25,000 single purchase.
Okay.
That's my
It would require
recollection
done.
also. I 10,000 didn't sound familiar to me. 25,000 did, and I believe it was per purchase. My
Well,
recollection is the same as the chief.
Just verify that, please.
Yeah.
All right, now,
Absolutely.
I guess asking a further question, since we have a number of revolving accounts, is the threshold the same for all of them, or is there different thresholds for different accounts?
No,
This is-
each account has a different threshold.
Okay,
Well, this is the only one that requires a co-signature.
Correct.
Okay. Just so we're all up on that. I'm fine with increasing the limit to 275. Given all the inflation that's occurred in the past few years, yeah.
I'm fine with it.
All right, could I have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the request for the increase to the advanced life support revolving account to $275,000.
Second,
Okay, roll call, Brian,
yes.
Stan,
Yes.
and I'm a yes also, and I guess we'll have to vote on this again when it gets to the warrant articles, but, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you,
think that's
Chief.
all I had for this evening, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Excellent.
Don't
Good
go
night.
too far, chief, you never know.
I'll be around.
All right, Lisa,
Hi,
Lisa Sheppel from Parks and Rec, good evening.
Yep. Hi. So, we are over because of the payroll for the camps, which is why we went over. You never know how many kids you have and how many staff you have to hire to take care of those kids. So we went over 20,000 right now. Well,
What is the limit on the revolving account for Parks and Rec right now?
we put in for 25,000
Okay, and you're 20,000 over it as we sit here right now.
as 40, yes.
I think it's fair to say that it was our first really big year going in, and it was a best guess estimate. And as I said to Lisa, we've been sort of a victim of our own success because she's really grown these programs, and there's been a high level of activity. So the high level of activity was more than what we had anticipated, which is a good thing, which is also why Lisa's seeking to raise the cap.
Correct.
I'm sorry, I cut out for a second or two. What is the current cap on Park and Rec?
What is the current web? Sorry.
The revolving account, how much can you spend out of that account?
Oh, we put in for 25,000.
That's currently what you have?
That
The
was
cap
our
right
limit.
now.
It's 20, and what are you asking for?
Where I'm looking to go up to 80,000 next year. What changes next year is we are going to be paying the Boy Scouts we're moving over to the Camp Resolute. We'll be using their property, and we have to pay them to use that property. So I would like to up it to 80,000.
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
Sure.
So, if I'm understanding there was some email backup in the packet. And on the one column, you had all the deposits, which totaled almost $100,000. And those are basically user fees from participants who've enrolled their kids in the program, right?
Correct.
Okay, and so you're asking to raise the limit from the revolving fund spending limit from 25 to 80, not because the town's going to be spending any more money, but because you just need to be able to essentially spend the money that you're taking in through the fees in order to pay the cost of lifeguards and also the Boy Scout property. Have I got that all
Correct.
right?
Yep, and the counselors too for the regular camp and for swimming and for the lifeguards as well. Yes.
And we hadn't anticipated that the limit also needed to include all the payroll. So the payroll helped drive it up.
Okay, thank you. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I think it's a reasonable request, given the way the programs have expanded and
Yeah.
we're gonna be using a big facility, and if I recall correctly, the Boy Scouts, it's not even a fixed fee, it's like per head per day or something like that. So it's
Correct.
very,
So,
very
right, so I give them
flexible
the
and-
number. Right,
Right,
I give them
so
the number.
that's a good deal.
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
I'm fine with
hoping
that.
it all
Alright.
works out.
It's a win-win too, to be able to make use of a very nice facility over there that's really going very underutilized right now.
Right.
Yeah, and we have water access over there too, so in the afternoon or free time, they can go swimming too, so.
Could I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the request for the increase to the revolving account for Park and Rec to $80,000.
I'll second.
All right, roll call, Stan,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
I'm a yes also. All
Okay.
right, Lisa, thank you very much.
Okay,
Lisa.
thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Lisa.
Good night.
Okay, bye-bye.
Nice night.
Next on our agenda is the town administrator report with a capital plan discussion and possible vote on reallocating money from unexpended articles.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Obviously, I'm not looking for a vote tonight on the capital plan, but I did want to discuss it with you to see if your sentiments were in line with mine. On one of the pages, you have the total number of all requests that I got from all the departments with my ranking. My rankings are certainly not that any of these are unimportant. It was relative to each of the requests. So that being said, we had 11 requests, which totaled $3,041,444. Once I got into and I did that prioritization early on, prior to having a really good picture or even a somewhat good picture as to what our budget situation was going to be. So I did that pretty early on once I received all the capital requests, probably in January, I'd say, early January. So then we've got my capital recommendations, my current ones, and I don't think as time has gone by, even this week, I think my recommendations have kind of firmed up, given what the budget is looking like. But what you have in your packet is two options. Option one, to fund the top 4 ranked projects, which are the remaining funding needed for the roundabout, which number 1, cloud-based body-worn cameras for priority number 2. Priority number 3, the Sawyer water system upgrade, well pump and the controls. And number 4, the 10% match for the Forbush Mill Road Bridge for engineering. As you'll see, number 1, I propose to use Chapter 90 money in the amount of $260,000 to fund that. I had initially considered trying to use some ARPA funds in with that, but based on some other pressures, I feel that the best way to go is to do it totally out of Chapter 90. Number 2 and number 3, my suggestion is that we use ARPA funds for that, and for those, I should say. And then number 4, the Forbush Mill Road Bridge, we must use free cash for that. We have applied for and we will receive grant funding from MEMA for the project, which is federal money. And the rules are we cannot use federally sourced money for a match for a federally funded project. So we cannot use the ARPA money because that's federal money. Therefore, we must use free cash in the amount of $128,778. So option 1 is to stop funding there. Option 2 is to move on, skipping past the Emerson flooring because that's a $200,000 item, and we don't have the capacity to fund that. Item 6, $78,000 for painting of the exterior painting of the Houghton building, and number 7, DPW cameras for the transfer station cameras, security cameras for 24/5. I do not like doing deferred maintenance. I think generally speaking, it's not a good move. And I really would like to be able to fund the DPW cameras with ARPA funds as well. I think as we sit here today, I think those two should wait. I think when I bring the capital plan forward to advisory on March 12th, I think it's more prudent to stop at number 4. I think it shows it's reflective of the budget situation that we're in, and it also shows, I think, a very conservative approach and some fiscal restraint to preserve, if possible, some ARPA funds. Which means if we do have some remaining ARPA funds, this does not stop you from, at some point down the road, funding item 6 or item 7 on there. But I think it would be premature to agree to do that. I think, as I said, I think we need to take a very conservative approach. So my recommendation, when I first wrote this, I was going to say, you know, you've got 2 options here. What do you think? But I've always felt like I don't get paid to bring you problems. I get paid to bring you recommendations, and then you can agree with them or not. So my recommendation is that the board at this point go with option 1, which is stopping after priority number 4.
A couple of questions. How much chapter 90 money would be left if we approve number 1?
I don't have that number off the top of my head, Bob. That's something I need to look up. I can tell you that we received an additional unanticipated $170,000 in chapter 90 through what Governor Healy referred to as the Fair Funding Act. So if you look at what our balance was at the end, and I'll get you the number Monday. If we look at what the balance was at the end of the calendar year, we're basically going to take 90,000 from that. So 170,000 is found money, but I don't have that. I don't have that number.
Okay. And is the 78 and the 24 in option 2? Is that the remaining ARPA money, or is there more remaining after that?
There won't be any more remaining after that.
Okay, so we got about
especially-
$100,000 if we only do in ARPA money left, if we only do 1 through 4.
Yes, that's correct. And I think the exact numbers I forecast is around 116,000 total. And I don't want to get out over my skis, but it's not impossible. We're going to need ARPA money to apply to the budget,
Okay,
which is part of my being very conservative tonight with this.
Did I hear you say that we may need to apply ARPA money to balance the budget?
It's a possibility. It's a possibility that I don't want to discount at this time. There's going to be some decisions that are going to need to be made as far as deferred spending, as far as do we want to go below $350,000 for a free cash limit or not? So there's a lot of levers that are going to need to be evaluated over the next couple of weeks, and I would not want to put us in a position where we didn't have the option to look at that ARPA funding for the budget if it became necessary.
Dawn, did I hear you say that the advisory committee is going to be voting on your recommendations on March 12th?
I don't know they're going to vote them March 12th. My presentation is March 12th.
Oh,
They may
okay.
vote it March 12th, or they may hold off until March 19th. I suspect they will hold off until the 19th, but I don't want to speak for the advisory committee.
And I apologize. I had my earbuds were having an issue, so I had to get different ones. But what did you say would happen with or how would the flooring at Emerson be dealt with? It just wouldn't, like,
It would be deferred till next year.
It would be deferred till next year. Okay.
Yes. I would expect it to be a very high priority item for capital requests next year. As I said, it's not that it's unimportant, Brian. It really is quite important, but there are, we have a lot of important needs right now.
I'm inclined to go along with your recommendations for option one. And to reserve that ARPA money, that last $100,000 or so, for a decision closer to May or June.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm fine with it as well. Don, one question. Assuming we get through annual town meeting and we don't use that 100K, and say in September, the Houghton building desperately needs to be painted, do we have to wait until the following May?
No, Stan, the ARPA funds are appropriated by the select board. You can do that. at
Okay,
any
so
time you see fit.
if we have to do something later, we can. All right, so I just want to make sure of that.
You know, you could do it right after the May meeting.
Okay, just
Right.
wanted to make
Well,
sure.
Once you know what where the budget lands, that may open up some other avenues for you, and you could get it done. I should say it'll be we until June 30th anyway. Can get it done. I would recommend that if we get through town meeting and without having to spend that money, then we could go out to bid pretty quickly and try to get it done before winter.
Yeah, okay.
We'd had a discussion many months ago about possibly having an article asking for professional space evaluation for town hall. That's off the table then now.
Well, I didn't take it off the table. It's not on the list. I finally was able to meet with one firm that does this. And I asked them to give me an estimate. So something that could be a placeholder for the board to be aware of. I've not received that yet. I would like to give that to you as an option, and then, again, very serious discussion. If the option were, let's say $25,000. Would the board prefer to spend $25,000 on that versus cameras for the DPW is what it would come down to? Or would you prefer to not spend the money at all and keep it in reserve? Those are the pressure points that we'll have, but I don't have a figure to offer you just yet.
Okay. But that's not likely to be $100,000 then.
No, no. We did the whole, the townwide study for 50.
Okay. Well, but that was a status report. That wasn't a space needs kind of.
There was a status report, but there was a lot of evaluation that went into that. I certainly would expect a space needs report for town hall, DPW, and the senior center to be significantly lower than a $50,000 townwide study.
Okay, that's good.
If I had to guess, I would guess 25 to 30,000, but I could be proven wrong.
Okay, thank you. Don, do you need a motion on this?
I don't think so on something like this. I was really looking for input, and it sounds like you're in agreement. The capital, the vote will be voted, not good language. The vote will take place at a future meeting. For instance, I will be coming back with a specific ARPA request for the pump and the pump and controls and the body worn cameras. Chapter 90, using Chapter 90 for that does not require a select board vote. I certainly wouldn't have done it without your approval, but it does not require a vote. And then the free cash for the bridge will be an article for town meeting that you'll be voting on.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything else about reappropriating funds for unexpended articles?
Yes, just to tell you the amount, we've reviewed everything. The amount that we landed on was $78,779. I will tell you that I will be recommending if you approve that tonight, that be applied towards the bridge for Forbush Mill Road, so we could take that 128,778 down by that amount, to take some of the pressure off of free cash. Because free cash is gonna be under a lot of pressure. But the first step in that is you voting to reappropriate that amount, or basically to accept that amount and to reappropriate it towards the article for the Forbush Mill Road Bridge.
Is there a list of articles somewhere that we can see where its money's coming from?
It's all in the budget. All in the budget.
All right.
Again, I can turn my back on you and pull it up on my screen if you like.
Do you need a vote on it tonight? Does it also have to be approved at town meeting, or is it?
Well, no, the article needs to be approved at town meeting, and the funding sources will be listed in the article. So X amount of money from free cash, and then the balance, and we have to list every article from every town meeting that each amount is coming from.
Okay,
So the
So-
updated article, put it this way, when you see the updated article at the March 14th meeting, it will have all those in it.
okay. So what do you need a vote on us tonight for?
I'm not requiring a vote tonight. You have the option to vote tonight.
Oh,
You know, I wanted to tell you where we are, and tell you that, you know, that's the recommendation. I mean, again, to me, we've always, every year, when we've got unexpended funds from old articles, and part of the process is we go out to the original requester and ask them if any of the remaining funds are required to finish their work. The only one that needed any repurposing was about $2,800 from one of the old articles, and the original amount was 81,000 and change, which is how we got down to 78,779. So every requester is good with releasing that amount of money.
okay. I
Sorry,
certainly am comfortable with that, but I'd rather wait till we get have to approve the article for town meeting.
Yeah,
But-
I agree.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just had a simple procedural question for my own education. So I remember last year previously when I was on advisory, the way that this sort of thing would come to us is like Ninotchka would basically say, oh, we've checked in with everybody. They've agreed that they can reallocate or whatever, free up those funds. And so we would vote on the article that specified the source of the funds.
Mhm.
And I wasn't aware of whether like the select board had to vote on anything ahead of time to like free those things up. And it sounds like no, right? It sounds like really we just need to check in with the underlying article sponsors, make sure they don't need the money, and then we just vote on the new article that redeploys those funds. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay.
What I thought would be helpful tonight was get direction from the board, because if you're opposed to doing this,
Yep.
it is going to have an impact on how the budget is structured.
Yep. Yep. Makes sense.
Okay,
I'm good with it.
Okay,
Thank you.
no, thank
All right.
you. And that's all that I have for tonight for the board, unless you have any questions.
no, we're all set. All right, on to
Thank you.
select board business. Are there any public service announcements?
Nope, not for me.
Any-
Do we just want to remind folks that the caucus is Monday night?
Yes, go right ahead.
Yes.
That's a good idea.
The caucus is Monday night at the library. I believe it starts at 7 o'clock. And that is the opportunity for folks to be nominated to run for any of the positions that are on the ballot this year.
And if you can't make caucus, you can also take out nomination papers.
Yep.
So it's not a one and done kind of thing, but that's a good point. Thank you, Brian. Any future agenda items?
And you could also mention the very next day is the election from 7 AM to 8 PM
The primary.
at the high school auditorium.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Jenny.
And early voting is already underway. I guess we should add.
Please indeed.
Any future agenda items?
Yes, one, I'd like to potentially have a discussion, follow up to Chief Legendre and his challenges in collecting for people who have chosen not to pay their bills for ALS and other services. There are a variety of items where liens can be put on someone's home for non-payment of bills and services. And would like to see if we can discuss exploring with Don whether or not for those who have egregious outstanding balances, what options, if any, we have to apply some incentive for people to pay their EMS bills. So I'd like to discuss that at a future meeting.
Okay. Anything else? All
No.
right, could we then review and possibly approve the 2023 Select Board Annual Report?
Yes,
Um,
I'm gonna
Jenny,
do
are
my
you-
very best to share this from the remote location that I'm in. I have two things that I want to show you. One is I have begun the reformatting of the annual report, and I'd like you guys to just take a look at it, make sure you like the way it looks, and you can also see the two photos that I've added to the report. And then I also have some proposed edits that I received from Stan, which are not included in the first document I'm going to share. So give me one moment.
The excitement is building.
Are you seeing it yet or no?
No,
No.
No.
Jenny. Oh, there we
I'm
go.
picturing it in my
Okay.
mind. I've closed my eyes.
Let me go up. Sorry, I'm used to having two monitors. Everything's much easier. All right.
Why are those people smiling?
So hopefully you like the picture that I've used.
yeah, you took it at the beginning of the year. That's why we're smiling.
And then the best looking person in the annual report is down below.
Oh my gosh.
Aw.
It's so
Um,
true. I follow the dog on Instagram, I'm not gonna lie. Denny.
So if you like the way that looks, I'll keep going.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah,
formatting
it's
is
fine.
good.
Great.
It's really slick,
And
Jenny.
now I'm gonna stop sharing and I will get to the other document that shows the changes.
It's kind of like we're at a real estate seminar trying to sell people swampland.
Let's see. All right, are you seeing this?
There we go.
Yes. So the very first thing is I changed it from 2024 to 2023.
Okay,
And then the changes that Stan had are highlighted here.
okay. This is the
And
version you sent out in the package then.
Yeah,
Well, go ahead and go through it. and we'll
Yeah.
see. Okay,
I can't remember that I sent it in the package or in the packet, so I'm glad I did.
there was another change that you passed over.
I
It's
did.
Standard and Poor's. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, okay. And I guess from a formatting issue, on the
Mhm.
bottom of that page, 580 Main Street, just add another line in there so that it goes with the paragraph that follows.
Well, the formatting won't
Oh, okay, all right.
Won't
I
matter,
didn't hear
yeah.
that when you double. when
It's
you make
two
it-
column, what you showed us, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I think there was another one down here with, yes, there was. The insertion of positive changes.
yeah. I have no objection to those changes. So,
Thank you, Stan, for catching that.
Could I have a motion to
Public.
accept the select board report as presented?
So moved.
Second,
Roll call, Brian,
yes.
Stan,
Yes.
I'm a yes also. Okay, Stan, you had asked at a prior meeting for to discuss some transfer station trash disposal issues.
I believe we covered that while Mr. Heglin was here.
Okay,
Yeah,
That's
so
fine.
we're good.
all right. And the select board needs to discuss dates for town administrator interviews the week of April 22nd through the 30th. Jenny, how would you like to, you want to manage that discussion?
I actually left notes for Don, which I didn't take with me, so hopefully he
I
has that
have
note.
them right here. I swear, Jenny, I didn't lose them. So, John Petron sent Jenny an email, and I will just read it to you because it's very short. John said, we were talking about April 22nd to the 30th. We would need 1 hour to 1.25 hours per person for about 3.5 hours for 3 finalists or 4.5 hours for 4 finalists. And 4 p.m. is a good starting point for a weeknight meeting if possible.
And then additionally, he would like to know where you would like to hold those interviews.
Correct.
So I have, my calendar is open. I'll defer to other members.
Yeah, I'm fine. I would say we shouldn't do it on Friday, the 26th of April, but any other day is fine. For me.
I just wanted to make sure I heard, Dawn, did you say the preference if we were doing it in the evening would be a 4 p.m. start time?
Yes, I believe John's desire is to get all the interviews done in one evening.
Oh, I thought you meant, okay, so we would do them all, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually really helpful. So in that case, if we wanted to do it in person,
Yes.
starting
We would do,
at-
I think we should do these in person. Yes.
Yep. So if we started at 4 p.m. on Tuesday, the 23rd, that would be great. That's, we could also do it on the 24th, but it would be hard for me to do any other day that week.
Either one works for me.
I could also do on the 30th, the following Tuesday, I could start at 4 o'clock on the 30th. So I guess those are my 3 options, the 23rd, the 24th, or the 30th.
I'm fine with any one of those.
Yeah.
So
Works for
I would say let's go back to the 23rd at 4 p.m. being our first choice. And the 24th at 4 p.m. being our second choice.
And that would be subject to room availability, which leads to the second question. Where would you like to hold these interviews?
I guess in the select board room.
I think John's concern with our select board room was space. If we had a number of residents that wanted to attend.
Is the Houghton building open?
Yes, it is.
Let's do it in the Houghton building.
Yeah.
The last consideration is, with Nikki, I assume the Houghton building is no problem for her, but I'll confirm that with her. And would these be televised, live, or recorded? Do you have a preference?
Any of the above?
I'm not positive, but I'm gonna stick my neck out and say the Houghton building will lend itself better than the select board meeting room. The select board meeting room, I'm not sure how much of the equipment in there, well, some of that equipment went away years ago once COVID hit. But I know that the Houghton building, I think, is fully functional or pretty close to fully functional.
Whatever Nikki can do, if she can do it live and record it, that's fine. If she's, I don't think we need to go spend money on this. If we need to have it recorded, then we'll record it.
Yeah.
But if it can be done live, let's do it live. We're not gonna do a live Zoom meeting during these interviews. I want to make that clear because we don't have the equipment to allow audience interaction. If somebody wants to participate, and as I sit here right now, I don't know how much audience participation we will have. But
Well, I think
it won't be a Zoom meeting.
I think we need to decide whether we want any audience participation at all.
Well,
We don't have to have that, we
well,
don't,
I understand that, and my thinking is that we need to have a set of questions that we're going to direct to each candidate. We've got to ask them all the same questions, and you can't guarantee that if you open it up to public discussion.
correct.
So I'm happy to announce tonight that anybody who thinks they have questions that should be asked of a prospective town administrator, please send them to our current town administrator. He will collect them and he will coordinate the building of the question set that we apply to all the candidates. But
Bob, I'm sorry, may I
Sure.
interrupt for a quick second? Because I
Please
did
do.
write to Nikki a couple weeks ago about the space and I just located her response. She said the easiest places to televise from would be either the Houghton building or one of the school auditoriums, with the high school being the easier auditorium to set up. I know that I can live stream from either of those locations. I've never live streamed from the library, but I know that I can record there just fine and could probably live stream over Wi-Fi from there if we had to. The worst location would be the Florence Sawyer cafeteria. We discovered during the master plan public forum that there aren't any convenient Ethernet spots close to the cafeteria. So that's her feedback.
So the Houghton building should work well.
Yep.
And we will broadcast from there, but they will not be Zoom. They will not be Zoom meetings. They will not be Zoom broadcasts is the phrase I'm looking for. So. In which case, when it's been so long since we've done this, I've forgotten the answer to this question. If you want to watch that live, how do you watch that live? You just go to Batco?
Yeah, there's usually you can even go to YouTube and there's like the Bolton Access channel on YouTube, and like right now somebody could go to YouTube and they would be seeing this live.
Okay, all right. I don't know if there are any other issues we need to consider. Okay.
No.
So, Jenny, Don, if you could work on that and get back to us with confirmation on which of those dates it'll be.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, thank you. I have notes here that we have a town administrator review discussion. Oh, yes, that's my topic. I'm glad I remembered. This is normally the time of the year where we do the town administrator review, where we review how the goals were accomplished in the past year, and we set forth the goals to be accomplished in the coming year. But as our town administrator is leaving us on June 30th, it seems to me that there's little to be gained by doing a town administrator review. But I wanted to see how other members of the board thought, what other members of the board thought about that.
Would that also prevent us from doing a town administrator roast at some point, or is that still?
We could do that before the interviews.
I have a feeling the roast is inevitable.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I mean, maybe my beneficial to candid conversation of our town administrator been with us a long time. Obviously, he's accomplished it, and perhaps from his perspective, what he possibly thinks are some of the important items that need to be addressed by the next individual that occupies his seat. You
I
know,
mean, he should review the select board.
just give us his, yeah. Make it good, Don. You got one shot. Like my wife says, you get to hit me once and make it good.
Oh, yeah, you gotta finish, you always have to finish the other guy off immediately. Yeah, I mean, I think I've been planning on putting together some sort of an exit memo anyway, so I think thoughts on what my views on what some of the priorities will be, or some of the main issues will be for my successor, probably break it down to short, medium, and long term type of thing. So I'm planning on doing that anyway. As far as performance evaluation goes, I mean, Bob and I discussed this. I personally don't see the need for another one. I mean, part of the performance evaluation process is, review of goals, performance against goals, but also goal setting for next year. And you're going to need to do goal setting with the new town administrator once she or he is hired. So that's a separate conversation. And, quite honestly, I'd love to go out on the high note based on the review you gave me last year. So unless you came up with a number higher than a 5, I just assume go out this way. And thank you for all the support that you've given me. But I honestly don't see the need for another performance evaluation.
Okay, all right, good. So next up is approving bills and payroll warrants, W 24-17, W 24-17A. Could I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second,
Roll call, Stan,
Yes.
Brian,
yes.
and I'm a yes also. And I believe we have no minutes for tonight. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. In that case,
Mr. Chairman,
sure.
One point quickly, Chief Legender took the time to follow up on the question on the revolving fund, and he and I were correct. The limit is $25,000.
Okay, thank you.
Any individual expenditure over $25,000 requires the town administrator's signature.
Very good. Thank you for clarifying that. Next is to go into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, for Purpose 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation with the Teamsters Union, Local Number 170, if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares. Also, Purpose 2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiating with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, being Jeffrey Legendre, the fire chief contract. The board will exit executive session and possibly have a vote on Chief Legendre's contract in open meeting before adjourning. Do I have a motion to enter executive session?
So moved.
Second,
Roll call, Brian,
yes.
Stan,
Yes.
I'm a yes also.
like we're back.
Yeah.
Okay, we are just left executive session. And we will now, discuss and execute the, fiscal year 25 through fiscal year 27 fire contract with, Fire Chief, Jeffrey Zonder. Is there any more discussion on the topic?
Now, for
Could I
me,
have a motion to approve the contract with the amendments? Really minor amendments made, subject to the approval of the fire chief.
sure, I'll make a motion that we approve the employment agreement between the town of Bolton and Jeffrey Legendre, with the two minor amendments. That being first one in section 7, title health insurance, etc. Item B, that we remove the beginning in fiscal year 22 as the chief gets 4 weeks paid vacation per each contract year. And the second change being in section 5, fire chief evaluation, item B, where we add the sentence that the goals shall and can be reviewed by the Board of Selectmen. If the board of Selectmen so
Second,
Okay, roll call. Brian,
yes.
Stan?
yes.
I'm a yes also. Okay, thank you all very much. A fine job done by our executive assistant and the executive's assistant. Appreciate it. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
Roll call. Stan?
Yes.
Brian?
yes.
I'm a yes also. All right, Jenny and Don, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. The time for the record is 9:40 PM.
Thank you. And the real power behind town government, Matilda.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you,